The sound of tools echoed through the dusty garage in Charleston, South Carolina, where Daniel Reed, a 35-year-old mechanic, worked alone. His shop wasn't fancy, cracked tiles, faded posters, and the scent of old oil hung in the air. But every bolt, every socket wrench told a story. Daniel wasn't just fixing cars, he was restoring pieces of history. Locals said he could bring any engine back to life, even the ones time itself had forgotten. Behind his calm eyes lived years of quiet struggle. A man who'd lost his father young but inherited his love for machines and honesty. That quiet afternoon, golden sunlight streamed through the garage windows, turning dust motes into tiny sparks of gold. Daniel wiped sweat from his forehead and leaned over a rusty Chevy hood. The radio murmured softly in the corner when suddenly, the sharp sound of tires crunching on gravel broke the stillness. He looked up and froze. Rolling into his yard was a black and silver 1934 Rolls-Royce Phantom IV, a car so rare it was worth more than the entire neighborhood combined. The engine sputtered pitifully before cutting off completely. A dying heartbeat of history. From the driver's seat stepped Miranda Cole, a woman who could command silence with her presence. Dressed in a tailored cream suit, her heels clicked against the concrete like clockwork. Her reputation preceded her, a wealthy estate owner, investor, and art collector who didn't tolerate failure. Behind her, a young girl peeked out shyly, Leela, about 10, with curls like sunlight and eyes full of curiosity. She clutched a small teddy bear and whispered, "Mom, will he fix it?" Miranda didn't answer. Her focus remained on the man standing before her, rugged, grease-stained, but confident. They say you fix what others give up on, Miranda said, her voice sharp, testing. Daniel took a moment before replying, his tone calm but firm. Depends on whether it's metal or human, ma'am. For a second, something flickered in her eyes, amusement, maybe respect, but it vanished as quickly as it came. Fix this engine by sunset, she said, pulling off her leather gloves, and you'll win something money can't buy. Daniel tilted his head, brow furrowed. And what might that be? Her lips curved faintly. My daughter's hand, when she's of age. The shop went utterly silent. Daniel straightened slowly, his expression unreadable. The joke, if it was one, hung in the air like smoke. His hands, still streaked with grease, rested against the Rolls-Royce fender. Ma'am, he said quietly, I fix hearts through engines, not by deals. Miranda's chin lifted slightly, testing him further. Then maybe you don't want the challenge. He met her gaze evenly. I didn't say that. She smiled for the first time. Not kindly, but with intrigue. To her, it wasn't about the car. It was about control. Seeing if this humble man could be rattled by arrogance, wrapped in elegance. He opened the hood, inhaling the scent of old metal and burnt oil. The engine was a masterpiece of British engineering, but age had turned its beauty brittle. Who worked on this last? He asked, examining the wires. Someone who claimed to be the best, she said, crossing her arms. He failed. Daniel nodded slightly, a faint grin tugging at his lips. Then he didn't listen to it. Listen, she echoed. Engine stock, he said simply, if you know how to hear them. Leela watched from the doorway, eyes wide with awe. Mom, she whispered, I think he likes your car. Miranda smirked. We'll see if it likes him back. For the next few minutes, Daniel moved around the car with surgical precision. His touch was gentle, yet purposeful. He checked the pistons, realigned the spark plugs, and cleaned the carburetor, his hands steady despite the pressure. Miranda observed every move, arms crossed, trying not to admit she was impressed. The man's focus was absolute, as if the rest of the world had disappeared. Finally, she broke the silence. Why do you do this, Mr. Reed? You could earn double working for a company. He didn't look up. Because companies care about profit. I care about bringing old things back to life. That answer caught her off guard. She studied him, the stubborn humility, the quiet pride. It reminded her of someone she once knew, her late husband, an inventor who died young chasing perfection. For the first time in years, Miranda felt something stir, not romance, but respect mixed with discomfort. Still, she masked it with a smirk. Well then, Mr. Reed, let's see if you can bring back this ghost. He nodded once, turning back to the engine. Outside, the sun sank lower, casting long shadows across the shop floor. The scent of oil, steel, and determination filled the air. Lila wandered over and stood beside him, fascinated by the maze of parts. Is it really that old? She asked softly. Daniel smiled kindly. Older than both of us together, kiddo. Her laugh was light, pure. Can it still work? If you care enough, he said, tightening a bolt, anything can work again. Miranda, listening from behind, felt that line land deeper than she expected. She had spent years rebuilding businesses, homes, empires, but not herself. For the first time, watching this man labor quietly, she wondered if she had forgotten what it meant to build something with heart. Not money. By the time the last streak of sunlight touched the windows, Daniel wiped his brow and stepped back. I'll need till morning to finish testing, he said. Asterisk Miranda arched a brow. You said nothing about needing more time. Asterisk, he met her gaze evenly. You said by sunset, ma'am. You didn't say which one. Asterisk, Lila giggled. Miranda's lips twitched before she looked away, hiding her smile. Clever, she murmured. Asterisk, Daniel shrugged. Just careful. Asterisk for the first time. Their power dynamic shifted the millionaire and the mechanic, standing as equals, divided not by wealth but by the measure of patience and pride. Asterisk that night, when Miranda left with her driver, Lila waved goodbye through the window. Daniel stood in the doorway, wiping his hands on a rag, the echo of their challenge still lingering in the air. He wasn't sure what tomorrow would bring: money, insult, or opportunity, but he knew one thing: some engines weren't the only things worth fixing. Asterisk, and as the garage lights dimmed, the 1934 Rolls-Royce waited silent, patient, for the man who had just promised to bring it back to life. Asterisk. The night air grew thick with oil fumes and determination as Daniel worked beneath the hood of the 1934 Rolls. Every creak of the old metal seemed to whisper stories of forgotten roads and lost time. His hands moved like they remembered what his father once taught him: treat every machine like it's alive. Sweat lined his brow, but his focus never wavered. The hum of the small garage light, the soft clicking of his tools, and the faint jazz from a dusty radio became the rhythm of a man at war with rust and time. Asterisk Miranda stood near the doorway, arms folded, her designer heels tapping softly against the floor. She had come expecting another failure, but what she saw unsettled her more. A man who worked with faith, not greed. She had met engineers, restorers, collectors, all spoke in figures and prestige. But this mechanic, he spoke in heartbeats and patience. Still, her pride wouldn't let her admit it. You're wasting your time, she said coolly. That car hasn't run in 20 years. Daniel's voice was calm, steady. Then it's long overdue for someone who believes in it. Asterisk, he continued working, ignoring the weight of her gaze. Beneath the hood, the machine groaned as if resisting resurrection. He adjusted the pistons, cleaned the old spark plugs, and replaced the brittle fuel hose. Each movement was slow, methodical, deliberate. He didn't hurry. Greatness couldn't be rushed. Miranda exhaled sharply, a mix of frustration and fascination in her eyes. You really think one night can undo decades of damage? Asterisk Daniel finally looked up, his blue eyes glinting in the dim light. Sometimes, one honest effort can fix what a lifetime of pride couldn't, he said quietly. Asterisk her lips parted, but she said nothing. Instead, she turned toward her daughter, who had been sitting on a stool nearby, sketching the car in her notebook. Lila's innocence softened the room like sunlight. She tugged on her mother's sleeve. Mom, he's different. Asterisk Miranda frowned. Different how? Asterisk Lila smiled, holding up her little drawing of Daniel bent over the hood. He listens when the car talks. Asterisk Miranda blinked, a strange warmth flickering through her chest. Engines don't talk, sweetheart. Asterisk Lila grinned. Maybe not to you. That simple line made Daniel chuckle quietly from under the hood. Hours passed. The moon rose high above the sleepy Charleston streets. Daniel moved like a craftsman from another era, guided by instinct more than manuals. When something didn't align, he didn't curse, he adjusted. When a bolt refused to turn, he coaxed it instead of forcing it. Every gesture carried patience earned through struggle. Miranda leaned against the doorway, her earlier confidence slowly dissolving. She found herself watching his hands, his focus, his quiet strength, things she hadn't seen in the men of her world. For the first time in years, she wasn't in control, and she didn't mind. Asterisk around midnight, Lila walked over, holding a small glass of lemonade. You must be thirsty, she said shyly. Daniel took it, smiling. You're a lifesaver, kiddo. Asterisk her mother frowned slightly. Lila, don't bother him. Asterisk, it's not a bother, Daniel said. She's the first person to offer me a drink in this shop since ever. Asterisk, Miranda hesitated, guilt flickering across her face. You should take breaks, she murmured. Asterisk, Daniel looked at her, smiling faintly. Engines don't wait for brakes, ma'am. Neither do people who need to prove something. She fell silent because she knew he wasn't talking about the car anymore. As dawn crept closer, Daniel tightened the final bolt, wiped his hands on a rag, and stepped back. The old Phantom IV stood proud under the pale light, elegant, dignified, and quiet. Miranda crossed her arms again, concealing her curiosity beneath her composure. So, what's the verdict, Mr. Reed? Asterisk Daniel reached for the key. Engines have souls, Ms. Cole. You just have to speak their language. Asterisk Lila's eyes widened with anticipation. Miranda folded her arms tighter. The air was thick with suspense. With a deep breath, Daniel turned the key. The car coughed, sputtered, then roared. Asterisk it wasn't just an engine sound, it was a heartbeat revived. The powerful, steady hum filled the garage, echoing through the walls like thunder after silence. Dust lifted from the floor, shimmering in the morning light. Asterisk Lila gasped, clapping her hands. It's alive, she shouted. Asterisk Miranda froze, her eyes wide, her polished demeanor cracking for the first time. "That's impossible," she whispered. "This engine was declared dead decades ago." Daniel smiled humbly, resting a hand on the fender. It just needed someone to believe in it again. Her throat tightened. For once, the millionaire had no reply. He stepped away, shutting off the ignition. The silence that followed was heavier than sound itself. Miranda approached the car slowly, fingertips tracing its polished frame. "It sounds perfect," she said softly. "How did you do it?" Daniel met her eyes, his voice gentle but sure. "I listened." Listened. She repeated. Engines speak. "Ma'am, just like people when someone finally cares to hear." The words lingered between them, tender and undeniable. Leela beamed proudly. "See, Mom, he does hear the car." Miranda looked at Daniel, and for the first time, she smiled not with arrogance, but respect. When she spoke again, her tone had changed, softer, almost hesitant. "You've done something extraordinary today, Mr. Reed." He shook his head lightly. "Just did my job." "No," she said, voice low. "You did more than that. You reminded me why I fell in love with this car in the first place." He looked at her, curiosity flickering. "And why's that?" She paused, then whispered, "Because my husband and I restored it together before he passed. I thought when it stopped running, part of him went with it." Daniel nodded slowly. "Maybe he was just waiting for you to listen again." The sun began to rise, painting the garage in soft amber light. Miranda stood beside the resurrected Rolls-Royce, a quiet smile curving her lips. "You're not just a mechanic, Daniel Reed," she said softly. "You're a storyteller, and this car, it just told me a story I'd forgotten." Daniel smiled, wiping his hands clean. "Every engine has one, ma'am. You just have to be patient enough to hear it." Lila ran up to him and hugged his leg. "You're my hero," she giggled. Miranda watched them, the humble man, the roaring engine, and her daughter's laughter, and for the first time in years, her world felt alive again. Days later, the morning sunlight streamed through the dusty windows of Daniel's garage. He was bent over an old Ford, humming softly as the sound of a socket wrench echoed through the quiet. He didn't hear the car that stopped outside until the doorbell chimed. When he looked up, he froze. Standing at the entrance was Miranda Cole. No shafa, no expensive attire. Just a woman dressed in simple jeans and a white blouse. Her daughter Lila peeked from behind her, carrying a small paper bag of cookies. For once, the millionaire didn't look like she came to test him. She came to thank him. Daniel wiped his hands on a rag, surprised. "Ms. Cole," he greeted, unsure how to react. Miranda's expression was calm. Her pride softened. "You proved me wrong," she said quietly, stepping closer. "You fixed more than my car. You reminded me that some things and people are worth faith." Daniel hesitated, unsure what to say. Compliments weren't something he was used to hearing. Leela skipped forward and handed him the cookies. "Mom baked these well?" "Almost," she giggled. Miranda smiled shyly. "We might have burned the first batch." Daniel chuckled. "I'll take almost baked over store-bought any day." There was a moment of silence between them, filled not with awkwardness but with quiet understanding. Miranda handed him an envelope, smooth, cream-colored, embossed with the Cole family seal. "This is for you," she said. Daniel frowned slightly. "If this is money, ma'am, I don't it's not." She interrupted gently. He opened it and found an elegant offer letter, head mechanic, Cole Automotive Restorations. His heart stopped for a second. "You're offering me a job." "Not just a job," she replied. "A partnership. You see engines for what they are, not objects, but living stories. I need that kind of soul in my company." Daniel looked from the letter to her eyes, searching for the catch. "Why me?" he asked quietly. "You could hire anyone with a degree from a fancy auto institute." Miranda's smile held something genuine this time, because they'd see the car. "You saw the man behind it, the one who built it, the one who loved it, and the one who left it behind." Her voice trembled slightly, but she steadied it. "You listened when even I stopped listening. You reminded me what care really means." Daniel exhaled slowly. "I didn't fix it for reward," he said. "I just wanted to honor what it stood for." Miranda nodded. "I know, that's exactly why you deserve it." For a moment, Daniel didn't speak. He thought of his father, who had taught him that good work doesn't need applause, only purpose. He thought of his small shop, the walls lined with dreams he couldn't afford to chase. And then he thought of the 1934 Rolls-Royce, the machine that had somehow changed all their lives. He smiled softly. "I'll need to think about it," he said. Miranda didn't pressure him. "Take your time. I'll be waiting." As she turned to leave, Lila waved goodbye. "Don't take too long, Mr. Daniel." Weeks passed. Daniel kept working in his little garage, though something inside him had shifted. People came not just for repairs but for conversation. Word of the man who fixed the unfixable spread across Charleston. Then one day, he walked into the coal estate again, this time, by choice. Miranda was in her office, reviewing blueprints. When she looked up and saw him in the doorway, her eyes softened. "You came?" Daniel nodded. "I thought about what you said." She leaned forward. "And?" He smiled faintly. "Engines need more than tools. They need belief. If that's what your company stands for, then I'm in." From that day, Cole and Reed Motors was born, a partnership built not on money, but mutual respect. Daniel ran the workshop with the same humility he always had, teaching young mechanics to fix with both hands and heart. Miranda handled the business side, but her tone was different now. Warmer, patient, human. Even Leela became a small celebrity at the shop, known for her bright smile and constant questions. The three of them made an unlikely trio: the millionaire, the mechanic, and the child, yet somehow, together, they built something far more valuable than cars. The old Rolls-Royce Phantom IV was restored to perfection, gleaming like a crown jewel. Miranda refused to sell it. Instead, she displayed it proudly in the glass lobby of their new headquarters. A small plaque beneath it read, "Restored by Daniel Reed, proof that faith and skill can bring anything back to life." Visitors admired it daily, unaware of the story behind it, the challenge, the pride, the lesson. But to Miranda, it wasn't just a car anymore. It was a symbol of humility learned and respect earned. Every time she passed it, she remembered the man who had changed her outlook forever. One evening, long after closing, Miranda stood by the car alone. The office was quiet, the air rich with the scent of oil and fresh paint. She traced the polished hood with her fingertips, whispering softly, "You were right, Daniel. It wasn't just about engines." Behind her, a familiar voice replied, "It never is." She turned to find Daniel in the doorway, hands in his pockets, smiling gently. "Everything we fix carries a bit of who we are," he continued. "The trick is not forgetting the heart behind the work." Miranda smiled. "And you've made sure I never will." Years later, Cole and Reed Motors became one of the most respected restoration companies in the U.S. Collectors from across the world sent in their classics, not because of prestige, but because they trusted the people behind the name. Daniel's old garage remained untouched, a humble monument to where it all began. Lila, now a young engineer, often told new recruits, "This company was built on one thing, belief." And in the grand lobby, under soft light, the 1934 Rolls-Royce Phantom IV still stood, shining proof that when integrity meets kindness, even the rusted parts of life can come alive again.